In this video, we are going to explain the steps of building a CPU. Welcome to Sector Explain. Silicon every processor begins as ordinary sand, since sand contains silicon dioxide, and that silicon must be purified to an almost impossible level before it can carry electricity in a controlled way. Engineers melt this purified silicon and grow it into a single, flawless crystal shaped like a long cylinder, known as an ingot. That ingot is then sliced into thin, mirror-smooth discs called wafers, and each wafer becomes the foundation on which hundreds of chips will eventually be built. Photolithography. Once a wafer is ready, engineers coat it with a light-sensitive chemical and shine ultraviolet light through a patterned mask, transferring an incredibly detailed circuit design onto the surface. This step works almost like developing a photograph, except the image being captured is a maze of transistors smaller than a virus. The precision required here is staggering, since a single misaligned line could ruin thousands of processors at once. Doping. After the pattern is set, the wafer undergoes a process called doping, where specific atoms, like boron or phosphorus, are injected into precise regions of the silicon. These atoms change how electricity flows through different sections, creating the positive and negative zones that transistors need to switch on and off. Without this careful alteration, silicon would remain a simple material incapable of processing information. Etching and deposition. Next, unwanted material is chemically etched away, carving out the intricate pathways designed during photolithography. New layers of material are then deposited on top, building the chip upward in a repeating cycle of etching and layering. Modern processors can have dozens of these layers, stacked with a level of accuracy that rivals architecture on a nanometer scale. Chemical-mechanical polishing. Between many of these layering steps, the wafer surface must be polished until it is perfectly flat again, since even a tiny bump could distort the next pattern placed on top. This process, called chemical-mechanical polishing, combines a mild chemical slurry with physical grinding to smooth the surface at an atomic level. It may sound like a minor detail, but skipping it would cause entire batches of chips to fail. Wafer testing. Once all the layers are complete, the wafer moves to testing, where each individual chip on its surface is checked electrically while still connected to its neighbors. Tiny probes touch each chip and run diagnostic patterns to see whether it performs as expected. Some chips pass with excellent results, some pass with minor limitations, and others fail completely. And this outcome quietly decides what kind of processor each one will become. Dicing. After testing, the wafer is cut apart in a process called dicing, separating it into hundreds of individual chips known as dies. Each die represents a single physical processor core unit, ready to be handled independently for the first time. This cutting must be extremely precise, since even a slight fracture can damage the delicate circuitry inside. Packaging. The bare die is fragile, so it gets mounted onto a protective substrate and enclosed within the packaging that most people recognize as a finished CPU. This package includes the metal contacts that will connect to a motherboard, along with a protective heat spreader on top. Packaging also plays a critical role in managing heat, since a processor generates significant warmth as electricity moves through billions of transistors. Binning. Not every chip performs identically, even if they were manufactured on the same wafer, so manufacturers sort them through a process known as binning. Chips that handle higher speeds and voltages efficiently get labeled as premium models, while others become mid-range or budget versions. This is often why two processors with different names can actually share the very same underlying design. If you want to understand more about how the technology inside your devices actually works, subscribe and stay around for more explainers like this one.